Chair. I appreciate that very much. And thank you for being here. We appreciate this very much. This is extremely important. I wanted to mention, first of all, that I understand we don't have jurisdiction over the border in this committee, but I do want to bring up the border crisis as it's impacting this epidemic. And I know that because I was there last week. I was there last Friday. The GAO has reported that Customs and Border Patrol data at U.S. ports of entry of the southern border shows seizures of fentanyl and its analogs have gone up more than 200% in the last couple of years. Ms. LaBelle, is it correct that the majority of fentanyl and its analogs come through the southern border from Mexico?
Much of fentanyl certainly is seized at the border. We are getting some that comes through couriers, so mail systems. That's much reduced, but much of it is seized at the southern border.
Well, from my investigation of it, my studies of it, what I've seen is there's enough fentanyl coming across the southern border to kill every American several times over. So I think it's really a stunning problem. Again, I want to allude back to my visit this past Friday to the border and what I witnessed there, because listen, these cartels, they're not dumb. In fact, they're very smart. And what they're doing is flooding the border in one area so that it takes the attention of Customs and Border Patrol agents, and then they're just bringing drugs across at another point. And it's causing us to have even more of a problem. Obviously, we've got a humanitarian crisis down at the border with what's going on with the illegal immigrants, but we've also got another problem, and that's a national security problem with all of these drugs that are coming across this border. We've got to get this under control. You know, it would be easy for all of us just to sit back and think, oh, what's happening down there is just a problem at the border and those poor people down there. But it's much more than that, because when we talk about fentanyl, when we talk about illegal drugs, those drugs that are coming across that border, they're going to be in your community next. Whether you're in Georgia, whether you're in the northern United States or the northeast or the northwest, it's going to be impacting you. And that's why it's such a big problem. It's killing people in our communities. Just this past week in Georgia, we had 2 incidents of fentanyl overdoses, one in Richmond County near Augusta, one in Chatham County near Savannah, where my district is. And that's a problem that we've got to deal with, and it's a problem that's being exacerbated by the fentanyl that's coming across the southern border and coming across from Mexico. I wanted to ask you, Ms. LaBelle, you agree that you have an obligation to advise the president as he must get the border under control, because the epidemic that we're discussing today has gotten much, much worse. Have you discussed with the vice president or the president the harm an open border is having on the opioid epidemic, specifically the trafficking of fentanyl?
So we're working very closely with all of our White House colleagues on this issue. We are separating the migrant issue from the drug issue, and that's where we have ongoing conversations on a monthly basis with the government of Mexico and with our law enforcement partners to make sure that they're doing everything they can to interdict the synthetic drugs that are coming from China into Mexico. So certainly these are ongoing conversations, and particularly with the National Security Council.
So I want to make sure I heard you right. You said these are monthly conversations, so you only discuss them once a month?
With Mexico.
With Mexico, but in the administration, with the vice president.
We have ongoing. I'm sorry, sir. We have ongoing conversations with our colleagues throughout the White House on this issue on a daily basis.
We were told last week when we were down there that over $400 million of illegal drugs crossed that border last month that we know of. That, to me, is substantial, and I think to everyone in America it would be substantial. Don't you feel like this deserves more immediate attention than what it's getting at the White House right now?
I think that everyone is paying very close attention to the issue. Certainly the issue of how many drugs are coming through can be a matter of enforcement, because that's what we're seizing. That's not necessary. It's hard to tell what it is.
And that's why I mentioned $400 million of what we know of, because what's happening is the Customs and Border Patrol agents, as you know, are having to be in the processing facility, and they're not able to monitor the borders. Therefore, we're not catching as much as what's coming across. So we don't really know the true number, but we know it's more than 400 million. Okay, well, listen, this deserves immediate attention, Ms. LaBelle. I hope you'll go back to the White House immediately, and we got to get this stopped. Thank you, Madam Chair, and I yield back.